Hi guys, welcome to Monitoring and Evaluation Made Simple. I'm your host, Coach Alexander. The world as we see it today is just messed up because of an invisible enemy, the coronavirus. And to tell you the truth, I never saw 2020. I guess nobody saw that 2020 would be like this. But it is what it is. And there's certainly a lot of learning points for everyone across the globe. So, when you sit down and realize all the events that are happening, one thing that comes into your mind is why? The question you ask yourself is why is this happening? But after this virus has hit the world, I have suddenly seen that man has weaknesses, that we have shortfalls. Even if you look at the United States right now, they have short supply of many things that should be present in hospitals. Right now, because I watch BBC, Sky News the whole day. I'm seated there the whole day listening to what different leaders are saying on television concerning this crisis, and you'll find that they are really struggling. Okay, I thought, because we are in the 21st century, I thought that we could tackle any problem. If a disease like this comes out, it can be tackled because we've advanced in technology, and the big nations have all the money. That's what I used to think. But really, it's not like that. We've seen it for ourselves. We've seen what is happening on TV. We've seen all the footage. It's not like that. The reality is the reality. Now, something I wanted to talk about is the monitoring and evaluation system. I always tell friends and also people on this forum that, you see, the monitoring and evaluation, it cuts across. Of course, we are really dealing with it a lot in the humanitarian work, implementation of projects funded by donors in Europe and maybe America. Yes, that's where most of the donors come from. But actually, M&D can even be applied across the board. It can be applied in anything to do with projects. Even in the construction world, where there are engineers, where you see these skyscrapers, these buildings coming up, it can be applied there. So, why is an M&D system there in this first place? Well, the monitoring and evaluation system is there for one obvious reason. Dear friends, and that is it acts as a prevention mechanism, an early warning system. Of course, if you read a lot of literature, when you do a lot of monitoring and tracking, what you're trying to do is see to it that you are achieving your intended results. Okay, that is what you're actually doing. You're trying to see to it that you're achieving your intended results. But also in the process, if you're not achieving, you're asking yourself why. And then if the why question is answered, then corrective measures can be taken to solve a problem. So now, this brings me to the next question. Where was the surveillance system when it came to this virus, the coronavirus? Well, a lot of people are asking the same questions. I believe so. Because the reason why I believe so is because even on TV, you see people are shocked that this happened. You see, why did it have to happen? Why didn't China tell us this? Why didn't this one tell us that? You see. But in those words, behind those words, you can see that actually there were weaknesses, there were loopholes. Information was not coming in on time. Because, you can have the information, but if it doesn't come in on time when you need it the most, when critical decisions need to be made, it becomes a problem. And this is what we are seeing. Because, for instance, let's look at the Italian scenario. If Italy got the information early, you wouldn't have seen all these casualties which are just happening one after the other. And it's really painful, because I'm there looking at this, I'm watching TV, and I'm just looking at numbers that keep on increasing. They are just numbers, but they are not just numbers. Actually, these are lives. Lives are getting lost every day. So now, let me tell you how this virus was spread. In case you might be asking, you might have the answer, but it's always good to get it from someone else. Sometimes, when someone else is doing the talking, you get to appreciate it better. This coronavirus has been spread because as a world, as a globe, as Earth, as humanity, we are connected. We are so connected. If, for instance, today I want to travel to the UK, all I need to do is book a ticket with Emirates, with Canadian Airways, things like that. I book a ticket and I get there within maybe 24 hours. Okay? So the issue is that because of these connections, the way we are connected, the virus was able to spread quickly. So where was it spreading? Remember, it emanated from China. So China, all those who were traveling from China to the States, to UK, to wherever, took the virus with them. Now, unfortunately, this virus, the coronavirus, is it's unlike any other virus that has been dealt with in the past. So I hear. We had SARS, we had Spanish flu, we had all these other flus which were coming around. Because what they are saying is that for every person with the coronavirus, they can give it to 2 or 3 people. Okay, so for instance, if I had coronavirus today, although I'm not sure, I haven't yet gone for the screening yet, okay? But if I had the coronavirus and I walked into my home where I have family members, there is a very high likelihood that those people will get the virus because it's highly contagious. So what that means is that for as long as people with the virus are traveling around the world, it's going to be spread. So when a person boards the plane, he travels maybe to the United States, he disembarks with the virus and enters the airport, okay? So now, the question I've been asking myself, the question I've been asking myself is that why wasn't this virus, this sickness detected earlier? Okay? Of course, people will say that, okay, the information did not come quickly. But at the airports, when there are any surveillance systems around to monitor whether a person is bringing in any viruses into the country, okay? I don't know, because I want to believe, yes, they do, but maybe they were not giving it the serious attention it deserved. All right? Because we've had so many pandemics. You can talk about the Ebola pandemic that happened in Congo. All right? Of course, you can say, hey, that's Ebola, we've eradicated it. And we won't be we will be screening people who are coming from Congo. As long as someone is coming from Congo, we'll screen. But that same Congolese can also leave his country, go to South Africa, go to another country and enter the United States. You see what I'm saying? So why where did we let ourselves go? Those are the questions I ask myself. So I want to believe that there were loopholes. I think maybe we may have been relaxed in the monitoring of possible people who could bring the virus into the country. Of course, when there's a pandemic around the world, people will respond and say, okay, there's this pandemic, let's make the testing kits and test people. Yes, like what is happening. But really, this is not the first pandemic which the earth has had. The Spanish flu is a case in example, you see. So there should have been something that we could learn from all these flus, the SARS, the swine flu, all these flus. We should have learned something. There should have been deliberate effort to close any gaps at the airport, at the borders. They should have strengthened the monitoring and surveillance system there. Because now what does this mean? What can we learn from the whole coronavirus saga? One thing we can learn, one thing which has always come to mind is that health and safety is more than important than anything else in the world. Because if the health of a person is tampered with, what happens? It can lead to an economic shutdown. Do you see the point? It can lead to an economic shutdown, as we are seeing today, because one, supply chains are being cut. If you've got, let's say a country is importing food from another country, they are scared to import that food. Why? Because of the risk of the coronavirus. And also, you'll find that, for a country to thrive, for it to work, it has to have, the economy has to be working, it has to be running. But as it is, go to the BBC right now, go to Sky News, go anywhere else, you see that the streets in London are empty. The streets in Rome are empty. People you thought would never get the disease are getting infected. What is that telling you? You see? So it's telling us a lot. So now, my recommendations, based on the report, is that we should have strengthened, we should have, first of all, monitoring and evaluation. I always want to talk about in terms of M&D, because this is the language that more the M&D specialists will understand. It's all about learning and continuous improvement. So from what I'm seeing, we didn't really learn from the past mistakes because we've had all these flus. So what should have happened is that at the borders, the M&D systems need to be strengthened. At the airports, the M&D systems need to be strengthened. And I don't know how they'll do it, but they just have to do it because they need to involve the medical personnel. They need to involve the experts, the ones, the economists, so that they understand what is the cost implication in trying to prevent such things. There's a program on TV called Border Security. Border Security, it's a program that is run, it talks about how New Zealand monitors things that come into the country. All right? One thing I never saw in that show, because one thing they would check this, a passenger's parcel for drugs. They'll check thoroughly. These people at the border patrols, they'll check thoroughly a passenger's parcel. They'll check for drugs. They'll check whether they are carrying any foreign substances. And a lot of people at this border have had to leave their goods, even foodstuffs. Some people would smuggle in food to take to New Zealand, but that food, they'll say, no, you can't take this food because it can be hazardous to the health of the population in that country. But one thing which they were never doing, and they'll check the food and everything else, and also they'll check a person to see whether he has drugs. Okay, and if he's found with drugs, he'll go to court, get fined and locked up. So now one thing which now I'm starting to realize, which they failed to do, and now which the whole world is also now seeing the consequences, we haven't really been checking the health of people. All right, I don't know how they'll do it to make it less aggressive, but that is looking at this lesson from the coronavirus. That is something very important. As lessons learned, we need to be able to check someone's health. All right, of course we've got new diseases that come, but is this disease contagious? I don't know how the experts look at it. They'll tell you, no, it's very complicated to do. We all agree, but look at the cost. You see, look at what it's doing, because look at it this way: the vaccine comes a year from now. If the vaccine comes a year from now, what will it mean to the whole entire globe? Total disaster. And we are seeing it, we are feeling it. Right now, some countries have not really been hit with the coronavirus, but as it starts to build momentum, reality will dawn. And you see, like in the UK, if you look at the United Kingdom, they have done a very noble activity. Even the US, they've come up with a stimulus package so that they can protect industry and the people who've lost jobs. But the question is that sustainable? In 6 months' time, how will things be? All those are the questions. So it is better, even if we have this globalization, it comes at a serious cost. Now, this might sound really crazy to all of you, but I was just thinking that maybe it's also a question of our curriculum. All right? A lot of our education curriculum, if you look at the cases that are happening in Italy, US, and if you look at those cases, what is happening? The doctors keep complaining that they are being overwhelmed. All right? They are being overwhelmed. So now, what does that mean? It means that there's a shortage, there's a shortfall. They were not prepared for this sudden increase in patients. Now, that increase, a lot of people are going to die, including those people who were already admitted. So now, I was just thinking to myself, could it be that our education curriculum should change? Should it be that maybe, I know you might think this is crazy, but just think of it for a moment. What if we say, if someone is studying economics, he wants to be an economist, they should give him a course. As he is studying economics, they give him a minor in medicine. You see, so that every graduate, and you make it compulsory, everyone that is going to the university is doing a minor in medicine, so that in the event you have a very serious crisis like this, you won't have a shortfall of doctors or people who can assist those who are overwhelmed. You see what I'm saying? It's crazy, I know, but think of it seriously. This economics can be doing his full-time career, okay? He can be at the bank, or he could be working at a financial institution. But he will be required every week to be at the hospital assisting with medical activities. All right? So that in the event a crisis comes, everyone is a doctor. And you know the interesting thing about it is that you have individuals, it will even control the spread of certain like this coronavirus thing, if I had the knowledge of a bit of some medicine, I'll come to appreciate how important it is to promote hygiene. I'll know the kind of medicine I need to control certain things. And then most of all, I'll be well connected with many medical practitioners around the globe. Because of that, of having trained in it as a miner. I know it's a bit far-fetched, but usually the crazy ideas are the ideas that work sometimes, if you believe in them. I mean, someone thought about flying to the moon, and look, we are flying to the moon. So anyway, I didn't intend to make this a long discussion, but I really want to hear from anyone out there concerning my thoughts. It could be negative, it can be positive, but also it would be nice to explain how M&D surveillance can be improved in the health sector, especially because I think looking at the coronavirus, that's where we seem to have a serious problem. Until we meet again, see you on the other side. Bye.